situations. You know, white, black situations, red, yellow situations, dark and light situations. There's all individuals of all type of skin tones, and sometimes you're thinking a motive is one thing and yet it's not. It could have absolutely nothing to do with what you think it is. That's how lives are lost, because sometimes people don't consider, well, maybe that individual is not showing up on my doorstep to gain something. Maybe they're in fact here with needing help for something. And yet it's not in the form of, say, trying to take something from me. They in fact just need me to help them, as in an emergency situation. Like, subscribe, ID in the Discovery channel. Yes, ID in the Discovery channel. The links are provided below. Get that Discovery Go app as well as that ID Go app. You might want to get those two things and combine them, make them into one. So, a neighbor, what I'm speaking on, this is how people get shot and killed, which is why sometimes human life, people don't trust people. In this world, that's why some people are not so trustworthy, as in America is in a state of paranoia. And it should be at times. You should want to have a healthy dose of paranoia sometimes. And yet not all the way, right? But this situation, let's say this grown man in the photo up above and what you just seen, he shot at a black male for that black male stepping onto his doorstep. And yet the black male wasn't there to commit any type of crime. The black male was in fact a teenager. He needed help because to need to get to school, and you're a teenager, right? To need to get to school and yet there's not a bus there, and there's a mismatch with that. However you put it, there's all type of people that are in fact children do that sort of thing. Teens do that sort of thing. Grown men and women do that sort of thing. They have public transportation and say miss it or not get on it because something done happened or occurred, and now you gotta say walk or something and say you need to go knock on somebody's door to verify some information so that you know where you're going on a route. That way you don't get lost even more. It's to say, is it there gonna be some helpful person there to help you? It's so sad and extreme out here in the world how people are human beings. I need to make a video about that. I need to make a video about everything. How we are all human beings and yet there's no level of trust with one another, right? And what I mean by that is strange to live and be a breathing human being, part of humanity, and yet not see others as one and the same as you, right? So a neighborly shootout. White male serves time for shooting a black teen, and I just did that after the teen walked up on his doorstep asking for directions so he could get to school. The teen did that. Rochester High School was in fact the school the teen was trying to get to. And the man that's in the photo, what I just presented to you with, Jeffrey Ziegler, was sentenced to 4 to 10 years in prison by a judge for shooting at the teen. Yes, people can say, well, the teen could have been anybody if he stepped up on the doorstep. Very true, but to make of a situation is to say, well, what do we have to go on in evidence? And not always looking at people for something other than say what they are, right? So Oakland County, Michigan, surveillance video recorded the homeowner shooting at the teen. The incident took place as a freshman was seeking directions on the morning of April 12th. Brennan Walker was his name, 14 years old. Some 14-year-olds, in fact, have criminal minds, and yet not all of them. Some of them don't even hold that stature. And yet some might say, well, what does that mean? Anybody could commit crimes in any stature. Very much true, but if I'm thinking, wouldn't he be much more young in the face? Some of these older white men and white adults overall just need to be a little less fearful, as in come to know people before you judge, right? So Brendan Walker, age 14, was the name of the teen. He told police he missed his school bus that morning and became lost. while walking through Rochester Hills. He stated he knocked on the door and the lady came downstairs running at him. Yes, somewhat running towards him. And then police were called by the grown man's wife because she felt that the black male was there trying to break into their home. And yet he didn't barge in. Remember, he knocked on the door. So what type of sense does that make? Some people, I think there's a common sense analysis that need to be done on some of these people's level of brain skills. And it's not just white, I can go in on black folks. They know me. That's why many of them, in fact, don't like me. Because to say to fail to use your brain, any race you are, is to say then the failure could be there. Who don't know that if somebody is knocking on the door, I don't care what age it is, and you fail to let them in, is to say, well, how could they be breaking in? And not only that, there's surveillance tape to even prove that that's what that 14-year-old was not doing. He was just, in fact, standing outside, as in the footage picked him up doing that, not trying to barge in. But who don't know that when you're in the house and you're the wife of, say, this homeowner, Jeffrey Ziegler, you're the wife coming down the stairs running, thinking somebody's trying to break in. You're on the other side of the door with all the locks and the keys, as in a locksmith with that. And yet, if you're thinking it's a criminal on the other side of the door, how is he going to even get in? He ain't tried to go through a window. Level of common sense of all races, nationalities, and cultures, and all in between. It's to think first with that. I'm saying because that sort of thing is risky action, risky behavior. That was done in the daytime and not at night enough to see him. People do in fact break in at night. They do in fact break in the daytime, and yet that could have been a lost life of even that 14-year-old Brennan. The young black, teen at the door. Because see, for her to come running down the stairs like that, feel that he's trying to break in, is to say even that husband of hers could have presented a rifle or a shotgun and shot him right through the door. That's how young lives are taken, and things not being considered, and other people not being considerate, say even other people's feelings and stuff like that, and them being a different race outside of your own. That's sad and heartbreaking in itself. That poses problems on even the child's mind. It can impose damage, is what I'm trying to say, because what a young Brennan will think more likely and possibly has is, well, white people don't like me. As in, I was told this as a child, but the evidence has been presented to me just by me knocking at the door. And it in fact instills fear in a 14-year-old. And that can lead to crime issues of even that 14-year-old Brennan, thinking that even the white man is against him out here in the world. That could make his behavior act out, where he could be a good student, straight A student, but that will make him turn against the world. And sometimes, later on, maybe sometimes could meet him in his future by him being on a job and start disrespecting the white man based off an experience he had at the door with a white man. And yet he wasn't doing anything. I'm saying sometimes people, they ruin the lives of other people and ain't aware. But if, say, this individual, Jeffrey Ziegler, was racist, then he could be aware. I just look at all sides at the picture for what it is. I look at the possible outcome in the end, as in how is this situation going to have an effect on that young 14-year-old's mind. It has to, as in therapy needs to be with that sort of thing. And it is. So the mother, let me rewind back. So Ziegler, the mugshot of the homeowner I'm speaking on, him being a retired Detroit firefighter, went for his shotgun. See what I'm saying when I said about the shotgun? That's why I rewinded back to let you know. He went for his shotgun and then chased Brennan Walker, that 14-year-old, chased him while shooting at the teen as Walker tried to get away by running. And yet, what if it wouldn't got that far? What if it would have not gotten that far and he would have just shot straight through the door? Because even lives are taken with that. And for somebody to bring out a gun in that manner is to say either that white man has a fear of black people based upon what he was been taught or was never raised around them, or he's a cold-hearted racist, like one of those Nazi individuals. And then you wonder why the Jews that run this world would want to get rid of those sort of people, as in to lock him away for life and possibly put him underneath the jail cell, because that ruins lives. I'm saying it ruins the future of individuals. I got white folks all through my family, husbands, wives, all that, my baby cousins having babies and they're mixing all that with that sort of thing, right? I was gonna say inbreeding, not the proper term, my apologies with that, but yeah, no, not that. Not that. Sometimes I use stuff out of context and yet that's completely wrong, right? And yet an effect on the mind, the future outcome, things that you should not do. I got love for all races is all I'm trying to say. So mother of the teen says she feels the only reason the shooter feels any remorse is because all the media attention that is in fact making him look bad, and it should. It in fact that in fact should, for this situation it should, only because of the child's age being 14. There's taint and public scrutiny with this man, and it should, right? Because I don't sense nobody was climbing through nothing. Once again, the surveillance footage picked up everything young Brennan Walker, 14 years old, was doing, right? So Ziegler addressed the issue because he was embarrassed and is embarrassed by public scrutiny, right? The homeowner addressed the issue by saying, "I have full remorse and regret. I wish I could change something, but we can't go back in time." I just so hope he's not racist, because if so, that's to say he's living in the past back in time. As in, you need to move forward, progress in life with that. Life moves forward in a straight line, right? Put the past behind you, right? Ziegler felt he was led to shoot at the teen because he felt the teen had intentions to rob him, and said the shotgun fired by accident. He said that the shotgun was fired by accident. But the footage captured his own home, surveillance footage that captured this whole scene, shows and paints a different story than what he's telling. His own home, him being the homeowner, his own home told on his own ass. That's off the hook. He said he had every intention not to shoot at Brennan, and yet that footage showed every intention that was showed. It doesn't match with what he's saying, as in what he's saying is in fact a lie. His every intention was to shoot at that young boy for whatever reason. Could be internal or internalized hatred for black people. I can sense and guess and believe that, because the situation don't make sense, and sometimes it never does. So I think that is all to be said. I allow you, the viewer, leave me a comment in the comment section. I go for all races. I go for love for all people. That's why I study psychology as well as sociology. Sociology is culture based. Psychology as well. Behavioral sciences, knowing the mindsets of all people and not just one race of people, or what thinking one is better than the other. Sciences tear down barriers. I can't really get into, well, my race is better than your race. No, because we're all right here in the race of life, and even life don't care, as in life would in fact present you with disrespect. I'm saying life itself will crush your feelings, as in it don't care. Life would in fact step on your feelings. That's what life does. It don't care about none of us, because it's just life. It just exists. Just like we exist, and we pick and choose our purpose as we go, right? That's why I can't really get into who's better when it comes to black or white issues. I can't do that, because to know that life don't care for me is to say, well, what do you have? If these human beings out here, different races, don't care for me, and some of them shallow in the process, and to know that life don't respect my feelings is to say, well, I better figure it out with that, as in to use my logic and reasoning and not think about everybody else, because they might in fact kill me with that, but I still gotta respect and love, because it's sciences with that. And not only that, it's sciences with that analysis. It's brain based enough for me to help spread awareness and information of what I know with that, because I'm so open-minded enough to know in the realm of cultures, sociology with that, how human beings connect with other individuals, and there being a great divide in the realm of cultures, and sometimes arguments come with that sort of thing, because you're not able to fit the piece, as in connecting the dots, connecting with one another, because the cultures are so different between people. That's all sociology. Stuff like that would in fact rid the hatred in your mind of, say, a people if he's racist. Studying stuff for hours on end and coming to know information like that will help you be a bigger, brighter person. Not saying it helps you look above those type of people, racist people, or even racist figures, because even some politicians are racist. And yet it helps you to see yourself better. It does. It helps you to study psychology as well as sociology, and the mixing of cultures, and everybody being divided is to say, well, they hold much more value just as I hold as much more value. We're all equal. I can never be below anybody racist or anybody else, right? But I got to make sense of even a mindset such as a racist person. I said that on my Roseanne video. There ain't no way of me putting myself down because there's races of people out here that think that they're better or more improved than me and all. That ain't gonna happen. Not never gonna happen. No, that ain't me, because I stay up on the level of study skills, and I have to. That's where my arrogance come from. I got arrogance issues, right? It helps to be wise and truthful with that, but to know so much is to say, I'm not gonna be fighting and picking no fights with nobody that's racist. It just ain't. I ain't got time for that. Recommended for you. We are in fact on investigationdiscovery.com. You can come back. That's why we are on the preview, right? Recommended for you. Shouts out to Paula. Each one of these, in fact, possess a description. To add the favorites is to click the plus sign. My stomach is growling, and yet I think it's gas. As in, even that is human, and it needs to be called out. Unlock episodes. Who don't have gas? Who don't fart or poop? Some women feel that they don't do that. Code Valley Season 1 Episode 1. To receive an audio video in the context of that is to click the play button. You will be met with that very descriptive. To add to favorites, or add to watch. Why I say favorites? Add the same thing. Add to watch later is to click the plus. You can do all that yourself when you come on here, dear viewer. On last night, the same thing. Unlock episodes, yes. Same thing. ID original series. ID Go original series, same thing. Crime feed. To gain access to the crime feed, yes, news and all the rest. Be explorative with that crime feed. Crimefeed.com is a click right within here. It's going to take you outside to crime feed. The crime feed news. Crimefeed.com. As in, you're going to be directed to the outside. To receive a newsletter, to type your email address in and click next. So I think that's all to be said for now, dear viewer. Yeah, I don't sit and argue with racist people. That just don't seem right. That's a no-go. So I think that's all to be said for now, and I'm gone.